Okay, now to a religious perspective by Zainab Zeb Khan, the head of the Muslim-American Leadership Alliance. A recent article in Newsweek magazine that she co-authored with ASF Executive Director Jason Guberman reads beautifully within an Omni-American context. By working together over the last 5 years, they write, has taught them important lessons about overcoming difference and shaping an agenda of tolerance rooted in deep pride in our unique identities, as well as a commitment to all that we share. It's given us a blueprint for how we recommit to pluralism without sacrificing difference, identity, or history. And it's a lesson that could not be more important in an America where intolerance is rising on both sides of the political spectrum. Thank you so much for joining us, Zainab.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Jason, for inviting me to speak on this conference. As a Muslim American born and raised here, I have quite a bit to share. This is a wonderful and incredible and very timely topic, combating anti-Semitism and racism. It goes hand in hand with also the Muslim experience, the Muslim American experience. And I just wanted to tie into our previous speakers. There's so much that I've learned just from reading the Omni-American, and lots of parallels with the heart of heroism, the antagonistic cooperation of the hero, which kind of goes back into, it reminds me of Viktor Frankl's words of idealism is our best realism. And that goes back to purpose and experience. And hence, then again, it goes into Carl Jung, which is archetypes and symbolisms as a reflection of our experiences. So personal experiences are, of course, what shape us to social policies. And so given that Muslim Americans perhaps are the most diverse minority in the United States, from different demographic backgrounds, whether you're looking at socioeconomic, educational status, ethnicity, whether you're looking at first generation to fourth generation. Nonetheless, we have been continuing in our battle similar to that other minority groups and being boxed into either political or theological categories. And I'll kind of give an example where I think nowadays, and when we look at newsrooms, campuses, and institutions, Islamist organizations, which are ruled by the Islamist doctrine, which go against liberal and democratic values, their organizations and pundits have set the tone for much of Muslim American culture and political life. And this includes giving little to no room for opposing views, being supportive of Israel, or being supportive of American Jewish organizations that support Israel. This creates a scarlet letter and brands individuals into categories such as bad Muslims, or Muslims that are to be suspicious of. And what this also does is it ties in, I think, to modern day. What it is it's a steady stream of cancel culture and ostracizing and labeling, which in its own paradox, it reveals a very profound illiberal ruling ideology. And that to me comes as a major surprise, given that the majority of Muslim Americans come from closed societies where democracy is unattainable, it's unreachable, and it's, you know, we're seeing the perfect example of it, of what's going on in Afghanistan today. And really, it's I think that it's almost a paradox, because the desire for equality is not enough. You know, group identity must come first and individual second. So being a Muslim American means that you have to essentially be anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, anti-American, to recognize the progress that America has made in half a century since the end of legal segregation. It doesn't even matter if we look at how far along our country has come. Muslims without an anti-American agenda are also part of racism and white supremacy. So, for example, I've seen this many times of people that have mentioned their own personal stories that even serving in the military has caused them pain, because as a Muslim American, how could they fight in Iraq or in Afghanistan being Muslim and serving America? Given that kind of differences in ideology and categorizing people, I kind of want to go back into what a beautiful example how arts and cultures thrived before such categorized identities is the golden era of Bollywood, where Jewish, Muslim, Parsi, Hindu, and Europeans all led the silver screen and the blueprint for the entertainment media. Sadly, though, that example and that plethora of tolerance and acceptance is not possible now due to Islamists, nationalists, and fundamentalists. We've seen the Buddhist culture be erased. In Afghanistan, we've seen Bollywood become very politicized if there are Muslim actors. And I just kind of want to go into how the two of the women that really made this kind of possibility were Pramila and Nadira, which can be played in a short video. There's a wonderful film on the Jews in Bollywood and how 4 women led the screen and the era of the golden age of Bollywood.
Esther Victoria Abraham, better known by her stage name Pramila, was a pageant girl turned actress. She was the first ever winner of the Miss India pageant in 1947, cementing her name in history outside of the acting world as well. Her family, like Sulochano, was of the Baghdadi Jewish community who settled in India. Her foray into acting started with her cousin, another famous actress of the time, Rose Ezra.
We have a choice, and that choice is to either look back and to learn the lessons from history, and to break the narrative of categorizations that are placed in the mainstream media and cause further divisions and segregations, which then leads to hate and racism, a paradigm of us versus them. So thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zainab, for joining us and being a really important voice in our discussion today. We really appreciate it.